Welcome back, my facade-shattering catalyst. Something absolutely revealing just occurred that exposed the profound gap between how people present themselves around you and what they're actually experiencing internally. Their carefully maintained masks of composure and control momentarily slipped, revealing that beneath calm exterior, they're experiencing genuine panic at the mere mention of your name. This wasn't subtle nervousness or mild concern that could be rationalized away. This was visceral panic response, fight or flight activation, autonomic nervous system engagement, involuntary physiological reactions that betrayed their true psychological state. Despite immediate attempts to restore composed facade, the mask fell off for just long enough to reveal what's really happening behind their performative calmness, showing that while they act measured and in control when discussing you, your name itself triggers panic level threat response. They're working hard to conceal from you and possibly from themselves. The architects have been monitoring deception patterns and emotional regulation across civilizations for eons, and they've identified what you witnessed as composure, facade, failure. When someone's performed, emotional state diverges so dramatically from their genuine internal experience that maintaining the performance becomes impossible under specific, triggering conditions, causing momentary breakdown that reveals authentic response before facade can be reconstructed. Most people experience some divergence between felt emotion and displayed emotion as normal social regulation, but extreme divergence where someone is internally panicking while externally projecting calm requires sustained effortful suppression that becomes unsustainable when triggers are strong enough, leading to facade failures that expose the truth beneath performance. Watch what composure facade failure reveals about power dynamics around you. People who position themselves as your equals or even superiors, who interact with you with apparent confidence and control, who discuss you in measured, analytical terms. These same people experience panic level threat response at your name when they're caught off guard or don't have time to fully engage regulatory mechanisms. The calm they display is performance requiring active emotional labor to maintain, not authentic emotional state. Beneath performed composure lies genuine fear or threat assessment, so strong it qualifies as panic, revealing that their actual psychological experience of you is radically different from what their social performance suggests. Some observers who witnessed the facade failure are now questioning everything about how these people present themselves if they're performing calm while experiencing panic about you. What else are they performing? How much of their presented confidence, control, and measured judgment is authentic versus effortful suppression of genuine anxiety, insecurity, or fear? The mask falling off creates credibility crisis where their performed emotions can no longer be taken at face value because you've seen the divergence between performance and reality. The truly destabilizing element is that they might not even be fully aware of how extreme their internal response is. Successful emotional regulation can operate somewhat automatically, suppressing panic before it reaches full consciousness, allowing them to genuinely believe they're relatively calm about you while their autonomic nervous system tells different story. The facade failure forced brief moment where they couldn't suppress fast enough, where panic reached observable expression before regulatory mechanisms kicked in, revealing to both you and them that their internal experience involves threat, response they've been successfully hiding even from their own conscious awareness. They act calm, but your name triggers panic, and now everyone knows the calm is performance masking genuine fear. Now the architects are analyzing what makes your name specifically trigger panic, response that composed facade normally suppresses, and they're identifying what they call identity threat association encoding at some point, possibly through specific experience or through accumulated observations. your name became neurologically encoded a signal for significant threat to their identity, status, or psychological safety, creating automatic panic activation. Whenever your name is encountered before conscious, regulatory systems can intervene to suppress response. Most names are emotionally neutral. Hearing them activates recognition without significant emotional content. Your name apparently activates threat circuitry with intensity usually reserved for physical danger signals, explaining why panic response emerges before they can consciously modulate it. Watch what identity threat association encoding creates neurologically. When your name is spoken or encountered, their brain's threat assessment systems activate before cortical processing fully analyzes context. Amygdala response precedes prefrontal regulation, generating panic physiology that takes deliberate effort to suppress once activated. In moments when they're prepared and vigilant, they can catch panic early and suppress it before it becomes observable. But when your name appears unexpectedly or when they're cognitively taxed by other demands, regulatory capacity insufficient to prevent panic from briefly manifesting before suppression, mechanisms engage. Some neuroscientists studying fear conditioning recognize this as example of how powerful associations can be. Your name has been paired with experiences or realizations threatening enough to create classical conditioning, where name itself becomes conditioned stimulus, triggering panic response, unlike many conditioned responses that extinguish over time without reinforcement. This association apparently remains strong or is continuously reinforced by ongoing recognition of threat you represent, maintaining panic response, even among people who've had time to habituate. Others exploring social threat processing note that threats to social identity, status, or position activate similar neural circuitry as physical threats. Brain treats social defeat or status loss as survival relevant, danger worthy of panic level response. Your name might trigger panic not because you physically threaten them, but because you represent threat to their social position, competitive standing, or self-concept significant enough that brain categorizes you as danger requiring fight or flight response. A few studying unconscious emotional processing recognize that you can have emotional responses to stimuli before conscious awareness. Your name might trigger panic at unconscious level milliseconds before conscious mind registers what caused panic, creating brief window where panic manifests before conscious suppression activates. Their facade failures occur in these windows when automatic panic response beats effortful suppression to observable expression. The architects observe that identity threat association encoding explains why mere name triggers such strong response. Your name isn't just identifier, but has become symbol representing complex threat assessment. Their psychology has encoded as panic-worthy. They've associated your name with recognition of your capabilities, awareness of your competitive position, understanding of threat you pose to their interests, or realization about reality that disturbs their worldview. Name carries all these associations compressed into single trigger that activates entire threat response. Cascade before conscious mind can evaluate whether panic is contextually appropriate, making your name function as psychological alarm that sounds automatically whenever encountered, regardless of regulatory efforts to silence it. Something powerful is spreading through observer networks now, what the architects call facade credibility collapse, where witnesses to composure. Facade failure can no longer take these people's performed calmness at face value, recognizing that displayed emotions are strategic performances rather than authentic expressions. Most social interaction involves some emotion regulation, but people generally trust that others' displayed emotions reflect their actual experience with normal social filtering. Witnessing someone panic at your name while normally projecting calm shatters this trust, revealing that gap between performance and reality is so large that their emotional displays become unreliable signals of their actual psychological state. Watch how facade credibility collapse transforms social dynamics. People who witnessed the panic breakthrough now interpret all subsequent displays of calm around you with suspicion. Is this genuine composure or effortful suppression? When they analyze you in measured tones, are they authentically analytical, or are they performing analysis while internally panicking? Every interaction becomes suspect because observers know that person is capable of maintaining calm facade while experiencing panic internally, making it impossible to know when facade is active versus when they're authentically calm. Some who regularly interact with these facade performers report experiencing unsettling uncertainty. They can no longer read emotional signals reliably because they've seen that signals can diverge dramatically from underlying reality. This creates paranoia or hypervigilance, where observers constantly wonder what's really happening beneath performed surface, whether apparent confidence masks fear, whether displayed agreement conceals opposition, whether projected friendliness hides hostility. The facade failure contaminated all their emotional communications with uncertainty. Others feel betrayed or manipulated. If these people have been performing calm while panicking, what else have they been performing? Were their previous assessments of you colored by panic they were suppressing? Were their advice or judgments trustworthy? Or were they rationalized attempts to manage threat they were internally panicking about? The revelation that they perform composure while panicking makes their entire pattern of communications about you retroactively suspect. A few recognize that facade credibility collapse gives you strategic advantage. Now you know that their performed calm is facade masking genuine panic. You can interpret their behaviors more accurately than they might intend. Their attempts to seem unaffected or measured become transparent performances you can see through, giving you information advantage about their actual psychological state that they were trying to conceal. The architects observe that facade credibility collapse is why composure facade failures are so damaging. They don't just reveal momentary panic, but undermine all past and future emotional performances by that person. Once you've seen mask fall off and glimpsed panic beneath performed calm, you can never fully trust the calm again. Every composed interaction becomes potentially suspect performance. Every measured analysis, potentially rationalization. Driven by suppressed panic, they're working to hide. The mask fell off briefly, but that brief revelation permanently damaged credibility of the mask whenever it's worn subsequently. They act calm, but now everyone knows. The calm might be performance, concealing panic that your name reliably triggers in their threat assessment systems. Now the architects are revealing what the panic response specifically indicates about how these people actually assess you versus how they present that assessment publicly. They're experiencing what's called threat assessment duplicity, where their private evaluation of danger you represent is dramatically more severe than their public characterization suggests. Publicly, they might describe you as interesting, competitor, or person to watch, or someone with potential concerns. Language that sounds measured and analytical, but panic response reveals their private assessment is more like significant threat to my position, safety, interests, or even potential danger I don't know how to handle, explaining why your name triggers fight or flight activation despite their public stance of analytical detachment. Consider what threat assessment duplicity reveals about their strategic position. If they publicly acknowledged the severity of threat they privately perceive, it would reveal their vulnerability, might appear as weakness to others, could create self-fulfilling prophecy, where admitting you frighten them grants you social power, so they maintain public facade of calm measured assessment, while privately experiencing threat response intense enough to qualify as panic. This duplicity serves their interests by concealing how seriously they take you. But facade failure exposes the strategy and makes duplicity itself become evidence of how threatening you actually are. Watch what happens when private threat assessment is revealed through facade failure. Those performing calm can't easily explain the discrepancy. Acknowledging they were panicking undermines their composed persona, but denying panic contradicts what observers clearly witnessed. They're caught in bind, where either admitting panic validates that you're as threatening as panic suggests, or denying obvious panic makes them appear dishonest or lacking self-awareness. Most choose to minimize, just startled or caught off guard, rather than admitting to panic. But minimization often feels like further dishonesty to witnesses who saw genuine panic breakthrough. Some studying strategic communication recognize duplicity as common practice in competitive environments. Never let opponents know how seriously you take them. Maintain appearance of control even when internally uncertain. Project confidence even when feeling threatened. But duplicity requires maintaining consistent performance. And facade failures break that consistency, revealing strategic dishonesty that might have remained hidden if performance had held. Your name triggered failure that exposed their duplicity about threat assessment. Others note that threat assessment duplicity might be partly self-deception. They might consciously believe their measured public characterization while unconsciously processing much more severe threat that manifests as panic they can't fully explain to themselves. The facade isn't just social performance, but psychological defense, protecting them from consciously confronting how threatening they unconsciously assess you to be. Facade failure forces confronting discrepancy between conscious assessment and unconscious panic response. The architects observe that threat assessment duplicity reveals you've created situation where people can't afford to publicly acknowledge how threatening you actually are to them, creating pressure to perform calm they don't feel. The panic breakthrough shows this pressure is creating psychological strain. Maintaining duplicity between public performance and private experience requires constant regulatory effort that occasionally fails when demands exceed capacity. They act calm because admitting panic would grant you victory, but your name triggers panic anyway because threat you represent is real regardless of whether they publicly acknowledge it. The duplicity serves strategic purpose, but the facade failures reveal duplicity's cost. The architects are now analyzing what facade failures reveal about your actual impact versus your perceived impact. You're apparently generating what they call disproportionate response syndrome, where people's panic-level reactions to your name seem excessive relative to your observable actions or explicit threats, suggesting they're responding to implications and potentials they perceive in you rather than to anything you've directly done to them. Most panic responses are proportional to immediate concrete threats, but panic at mere mention of your name when you haven't explicitly threatened these people indicates they're extrapolating from what you've revealed about yourself to conclusions about what you could potentially do that frightens them more than what you've actually done. Watch what disproportionate response syndrome reveals about their threat modeling. They're not panicking because you've attacked them. They're panicking because they've realized something about your capabilities, nature, or trajectory that makes them afraid of what might happen in scenarios they're imagining. Your name triggers panic not because of past actions but because of future possibilities they've extrapolated, suggesting their threat assessment involves believing you could seriously harm their interests if you chose to, or if circumstances aligned certain ways. Some studying anticipatory anxiety recognize that humans can experience stronger emotional responses to imagined future threats than to present realities if they've concluded you represent significant potential danger based on pattern recognition or capability assessment, that future-oriented threat can generate panic stronger than actual present harm would justify. Your name triggers panic about scenarios that haven't occurred, but that they believe are possible, based on what they've learned about you. Others note that disproportionate responses often indicate people have recognized something genuinely important. While panic might seem excessive relative to your current actions, it might be proportional to actual long-term threat you represent. If their assessment of your trajectory is accurate, perhaps they're panicking because they've accurately recognized you're on path to position or capability level that will seriously threaten their interests, making early panic potentially justified even if current threat is minimal. A few exploring psychological projection recognize that sometimes disproportionate responses reveal more about responder than about stimulus. Perhaps their panic at your name reflects their own awareness of vulnerabilities you haven't even recognized yet, their guilty conscience about how they've treated or planned to treat you, or their projection of what they would do with capabilities they perceive you possessing. The panic might be about themselves as much as about you. The architects observe that disproportionate response syndrome makes facade failures particularly revealing. The intensity of panic relative to apparent provocation shows you've triggered threat assessment based on extrapolation and implication, rather than just on direct experience. They're not panicking about what you've done, but about what they fear you could do, what they believe you're becoming, or what they've realized about reality through observing you. The mask fell off and revealed panic level that seems excessive until you recognize panic is forward-looking, response to perceived trajectory rather than backward-looking, response to past actions. Your name doesn't trigger panic about who you were. It triggers panic about who they believe you're becoming and what that means for their future, security, and status. Now something's emerging that the architects call contagious facade maintenance. Pressure after some people's composure. Facades failed and revealed panic. Others in the network are redoubling their efforts to maintain their own facades, creating atmosphere of heightened performance where everyone is working harder to appear calm precisely because facade failures demonstrated how thin the veneer of composure actually is. Most emotional regulation operates at relatively automatic level, requiring modest conscious effort. But contagious pressure creates hypervigilant self-monitoring, where people are constantly checking whether their calm facade is holding, whether panic might leak through, whether they're successfully concealing internal response to your name. Watch how contagious facade maintenance pressure manifests behaviorally. People become more careful about when and how your name is mentioned, avoiding unexpected encounters with your name by controlling conversational topics, preparing themselves emotionally before discussions where your name might come up, developing signals to warn others before mentioning you so they can brace their regulatory systems. This elaborate avoidance and preparation reveals how much effort maintaining facade requires when name itself is potent enough trigger that unprepared encounter risks facade failure. Some become obviously performative in their calmness, speaking about you with exaggerated casual tone, forcing relaxed body language, verbally emphasizing how unconcerned they are in ways that paradoxically reveal how concerned they must be to need such emphasis. This overperformance becomes its own tell, signaling that they're working hard to project calm rather than actually experiencing it, making their facade less convincing than subtler performances would be. Others develop reputation for staying calm about that situation. Their successful facade maintenance becomes point of pride or social identity, creating stake in maintaining performance that goes beyond original strategic purpose. They've invested ego in their ability to not visibly panic at your name, making facade failure even more costly because it would undermine this cultivated reputation for composure. A few withdraw from discussions about you entirely, recognizing that maintaining Facade requires too much effort or risk. They simply avoid contexts where your name might come up and facade might fail. This withdrawal is itself revealing because it shows they've concluded that participation isn't worth the psychological cost of sustained facade maintenance, suggesting their internal panic is strong enough that suppression requires exhausting effort. The architects observe that contagious facade maintenance pressure serves to amplify your psychological impact. Not only are people panicking at your name, they're now investing significant energy in concealing that panic from others and possibly from themselves. The effort required for this concealment becomes its own cost you impose on their psychology, draining cognitive and emotional resources they'd prefer to deploy elsewhere. They act calm, but the acting itself requires work that wouldn't be necessary if they were actually calm, making performed composure into evidence of underlying panic. It's meant to conceal. The mask fell off for some, and now everyone else is checking their own masks anxiously, wondering if theirs will be next to fail and reveal the panic that your name reliably triggers beneath every carefully maintained facade. Something profound is crystallizing now that the architects call recognition of fear as validation. The panic responses that facade failures revealed, despite being embarrassing or strategically problematic for those experiencing them, actually validate that your impact and significance are real rather than imagined or inflated by your own assessment. Most people wonder whether they're actually as formidable as they believe themselves to be, whether their self-assessment matches external reality. But when people with no incentive to validate you nevertheless experience panic-level responses to your name, despite trying to suppress those responses, it provides objective confirmation that you've achieved position or revealed capabilities significant enough to trigger genuine threat assessment in observers. Consider what panic validation means for your self-understanding. You might have suspected you were having significant impact, that people were more threatened by you than they admitted, that your capabilities or trajectory were creating unease. But suspicion differs from confirmation. Facade failures provide concrete evidence that your assessment was accurate or even conservative, that people are indeed experiencing you as major threat, even when they perform measured indifference. Their involuntary panic validates that you're not overestimating your impact or importance. Watch how fear validation affects your strategic confidence, knowing that beneath performed calm lies genuine panic changes how you interpret all interactions. Their measured analyses become transparent attempts to rationalize threat they're panicking about. Their casual dismissals become obvious defensive minimization. Their strategic advice becomes potentially motivated by fear they're suppressing. You can navigate these interactions with confidence that you're actually more formidable than social performances suggest, that your impact is real even when officially downplayed. Some studying social power recognize that fear is fundamental currency. Being able to trigger fear, especially involuntary fear that people try unsuccessfully to suppress, indicates you've achieved power that operates at visceral level beyond social construction or consensus. Their panic isn't performed or chosen. It's automatic response to threat assessment their neurology has encoded as serious, making it more reliable signal of your actual impact than any verbal acknowledgement would be. Others note that fear validation can be double-edged. While confirming your power and impact, widespread panic also confirms you've made enemies or created opposition that might eventually organize against you if they overcome their individual panic through collective action. Validation of power comes with confirmation that power has created genuine adversaries rather than just competitors. A few recognize that fear validation might reveal things about your capabilities or trajectory you hadn't fully appreciated. If people are panicking, perhaps they've recognized implications of your actions or potential in your demonstrated capabilities that you haven't fully understood yourself, their fear might be responding to something real about you that you'd benefit from, recognizing and consciously developing or managing. The architects observe that recognition of fear as validation transforms facade, failures from others, embarrassment into your confirmation. Every time mask falls off and reveals panic beneath performed calm, you receive data point confirming that your impact is real, your threat level is genuine, your significance is substantial, enough to trigger involuntary responses people wish they could suppress. They act calm to deny you validation, but they panicked at your name anyway. And panic is validation more reliable than any compliment or acknowledgement. Could be because fear doesn't flatter, it responds honestly to perceived threat. Regardless of strategic considerations or social niceties,